Today I'm going to show you how to make my motifs for my peppermint blanket. So for your small peppermint, and throughout this whole pattern, you're going to be using a 6mm crochet hook. So to start, you're going to take your white and you're going to make a magic ring. So what you do is you wrap it around again, just for extra security, cross it over, take your hook, pull the working yarn through and twist it. Now you have this loop that you're going to be working into. I like to do a stacked single crochet just because it makes joining the actual hexagon part of the blanket to the peppermints a lot easier. But you can also do a chain 3. But to do a stacked single crochet, chain 1, single crochet into the ring, into this edge loop of your single crochet, pull up another loop, and single crochet. Now you have 2 stacked single crochets, and this counts as your first double crochet. So now you need to do 1 more double crochet for 2 double crochets. And we want a total of 14 stitches in our ring. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So now we're going to close our ring, pull it, and the one that tightens, we're going to pull that first to tighten the second loop. Close our ring. Now we slip stitch to our first top stitch. If you chain 3, slip stitch to the top of your chain 3, but I made a stacked single crochet, so I'm going to slip stitch to that, and I'm going to make another stacked single crochet. You can make a chain 3 if you want. So continuing with your white, make your first stitch, and then double crochet back into that stitch for an increase. So now we have 2 double crochets. So now we're going to be switching to our red, and this is similar to my Halloween motif, but I actually designed this blanket before I designed my Halloween one. So now we take our red, and I'm going to make another stacked single crochet, but you can chain 3. So I'm going to make a standing single crochet, make a loop, put on my hook, and now going into this second stitch right here, I'm going to make a single crochet. I'm going to hide this tail right there. Single crochet into this second loop right here, this side loop right here, pull up another loop, single crochet. There's your first stitch. Now we're going to make another double crochet into this stitch for 2. Make a long loop, go back to your white. So for the small peppermints, you're going to chain 3 to hop over. So chain 3, 1, 2, 3. Pull this forward, make sure your loop and your working yarn is in front. Go into the next available stitch and double crochet. I'm going to work over this red tail, double crochet, double crochet for 2 double crochets into this next stitch. Pull up a loop, pull up a long loop, pull it forward, make sure it's in front, go back to your red, chain 3, 1, 2, 3. Make sure this is forward. I'm going to work around that tail and go into the next available stitch. 2 double crochet. 1, 2. Pull up a loop. Make sure it's pulled forward. Go back to your white. Chain 3. 1, 2, 3. Hop over your red and work into your next stitch. 2 double crochet. And you're just going to do this all the way around. So here I am back at the beginning. I like to start with the white, and we're going to make our last chain 3 with the white, chain 3, pull this forward, and then slip stitch right into our first stitch. If you did a chain 3, slip stitch into your chain 3, and then we would cut. But I'm not going to cut it because I need it for the big peppermint that I'm going to show you. So then we go back to our red, chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and then for the small peppermint, put the red under this white chain and slip stitch, and then you would cut both of them, and that would be your little peppermint. So for your big peppermint, you start it just like your small one. See? So for your big peppermint, you make it just like you do with the small one. Except when you join, you start with your white and you join it just like normal. You can do a chain 3, but I'm going to do my stacked single crochet. And then in the second one, you have 1, this is your first stitch, increase by putting 2 double crochet into the second stitch. And this one differs a little bit from your small peppermint. Instead of putting this under here and connecting for your big peppermint, you would do your last chain 3 like it was a small peppermint, push this forward, and then connect to your first stitch on your red. Slip stitch, make your first stitch. I'm going to make a stacked single crochet. This counts as my first double crochet. And then 2 double crochet into your second one. 1, 2. Now we're just going to be hopping like we did with our small peppermint. Only this time, you're going to go back to your white, push this forward, chain 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Find the first stitch on your white, put 1 double crochet, one, and then in the second stitch, 2 double crochet, make a long loop. Make sure, go back to your red, push this forward, find the first stitch, chain 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 double crochet in the first stitch, 1, 2 double crochet in your next stitch, 2, go back to your white and chain 4 and push this forward, and you're just going to continue this all the way around. Here I am back at the beginning, chain 4 with my white, hop over, connect to your first stitch, fasten off. Sorry for my dog. And then chain 4 with your red. Push the first red under. Slip stitch to your first stitch. And fasten off. And there's your peppermint. So now, to make our hexagon part, you're going to take your other white, make a slip knot, and for your small peppermint, here's one I already have made. For your small peppermint, they're each a little bit different. Take the loop off, and you're going to find one of these first stitches, one of the first double crochets on your stripe. Put your hook in, take your slip knot, pull it through, chain 3. So for your small peppermints, you're going to be chaining 3. 1, 2, 1 second. Find your working yarn. 1, 2, 3. Skip over to the first stitch on your white. Slip stitch into your first stitch on your white. 1, 2, 3. Skip to the next stitch on the first stitch of your green. Slip stitch. Chain 3. 1, 2, 3. Skip to the first stitch on your white stripe, and you're just going to do this all the way around. Then when you get back to your first stitch, do your last chain 3 and slip stitch back into that first stitch. There. Now it's connected. Now we're going to slip stitch into our first chain space. I like to do a stacked single crochet, but you can chain 3. So you're going to make 1 stitch. I'm going to make a stacked single crochet. Whatever you decide to do counts as your first stitch. This is your first stitch. So, similar to my Halloween blanket, my Halloween motif, each chain space is going to have 3 double crochet, but you want to split the sides to have 7 stitches each. So after every 7th stitch, you're going to chain 2. I always like to start with 2 double crochet, 1, 2, chain 2, this counts as your first corner, and each space needs to have 3 double crochet. So 1 double crochet for 3 in total, but each side needs to have 7 double crochet in between. So we already have 2 over here. So now we're going to be starting this edge like this. See? 1, 2, the next space is going to have 3 for 5, and then 2 more for 6, 7, and then we do another chain 2, and that would be our first side. So here's the first stitch of our first side, 1, but each space needs to have 3, so we skip over to our next space, 1, 2, 3, 4, so there's 3, skip to our next space. So here's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, chain 2, there's our first edge done. But now we just count out in between every 7th double crochet is a chain 2. So here's our chain 2, and we need 3 double crochet in each space. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then 7. There's our next side. Chain 2, but every space that needs 3 double crochet. So 1, 2, 'so there's 3 double crochet. Here's our chain. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 'skip to our next space, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, chain 2, 1, here's our first stitch of our edge, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, chain 2, 1, 2. Now we skip to our next space, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, then skip to our next space, 7. Chain 2, 1, 2, then our last space, 3, 4, 5, and then back at our beginning, 6, 7. Slip stitch to your first stitch, fasten off. So for our big motifs, instead of a chain 3 hopping between each stripe, you chain 4 to count for the extra stitches. So I'm just going to show you that real quick. You would start just like you would with your small peppermint. Make a slip knot. Find the first stripe on your motif, first stitch of one of your stripes. Put in your slip knot. Chain 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Skip to your next stripe on the first stitch. Slip stitch. Chain 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and you would just do that all the way around, just chaining 4. And then when you get all the way around, you do the same with each edge. 7 double crochet, chain 2 with 3 double crochet in between. So basically just the same as this, the only difference is the chain 4. It's literally just the same as this. So for your final edge, you're going to take your edge color. For me, it's this Christmas print color. So I'm going to do a stacked single crochet, but you can do whatever feels comfortable to you. I'm going to find a stitch. Make a single crochet into this side stitch. Single crochet. And then double crochet into each stitch across. double crochet, double crochet, all the way to your chain 2 space. And in your chain 2 space, you're going to double crochet, chain 2, double crochet, and just continue around. So I'm just going to show you on this motif when you get to the end, and then fasten off to your first stitch. And it's just the same with your big motifs, your big peppermints. It's exactly the same. I don't know if you could see right here. It's exactly the same. It's just the size of the peppermint is different. So now I want to talk about some different ways that I have made this blanket, and I've been practicing with different joining techniques and learning different joining techniques. I don't really feel very confident in teaching this specific one, but for this blanket specifically, I learned it's like a continuous join as you go with single crochet. You make little flags with your motifs, and then you come back and connect them. And this is where I used the Christmas Hobby Lobby yarn, the sparkly one right here, and it's actually connected to this blanket, and as I make the motifs I am joining them. It's connected, and once I get it as big as I want, then you do the edging. I'm still learning this join, so I'm being honest. I will link the tutorial that I learned from. You can join the motifs however you want. I've just been practicing because I've made like 4 of these already. So this is the color scheme I used for this blanket. And the way this blanket is set up, here's my other one. This one I used just the join as you go, where you make as you make the final round of the motif, you join it to the blanket. So this blanket is set up with whatever peppermint size you start with, the next size is going to be a big one. And you can change colors. On this one, I used red and green. And since this blanket is 8 by 8, 8 motifs across by 8 motifs down, I did 17 small red ones, 17 big red ones, 17 big green ones, 17 small green ones, and I just split them out. And if I started with a small red peppermint, I moved to a big green peppermint. Small red, big green. On the second row, since I started with a small red one, I did a big red one, and small green one, big red one, small green. And I staggered that down, so when you actually, and I'll show pictures at the end, but when you actually show it, it looks like the peppermints are staggering down between big and little ones, and it looks really, really pretty. And on this blanket, I just did a simple single crochet border. But for this one, and this one was actually my first draft, ever. I actually did motif, half motifs. I can do a tutorial on that if you want to. But I just join them as I go, and you can see I added an extra border, an extra row on these peppermints because this was my first draft. And these peppermints are sparkly teal and red. And I did the same thing. For the border, I added the baubles, which I also have a tutorial for on my channel. I will link that too. If you want a tutorial on the half